Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Telescope Podcast.
What's up, everybody? Everyone in this place, if you could do a handstand, I want to see your feet up in the air right now. Wave them around.
Hello. Welcome to the Telescope Podcast, the show where we look at geek culture through the spyglass of faith. Matthew Seipel Anderson here. Very happy once again to be recording another episode. Man, I am looking forward to a great month of September. Lots of great stuff. Oh, wait a minute. September's over. Well, I'm looking forward to a great fall of talking about geek culture and faith. And man, September is gone. It was busy for me. The summer's gone. That was busy for everybody, especially up here in northern Minnesota where I'm from. Summers are so short. And yeah, you just got to take advantage while you can. Well, what's happening in the geek world? Over the summer, Solo flopped. Ant-Man and Wasp was a small success. Venom appears to be flopping as we speak. Got awful reviews. I am looking forward to learning more about the Star Wars television show that's being filmed right now. They released a picture of a guy in this, deserty-looking scene dressed in Mandalorian armor. And if you're familiar with the Star Wars universe, you'll know that there's a potential that that character could be a Boba Fett. So, that's exciting. But we'll see. The jury's still out on that. That's not out. Right now, the movie that has me the most curious is actually Aquaman, which is funny because Aquaman was the character that my friends and I always made fun of when we were kids. He was the nerdiest superhero. The power to control dolphins. Like a superhero that really was only fit to work at SeaWorld. I mean, he was the worst. His costume was terrible. His powers were terrible. Like the rest of the Justice League was, in the city fighting crime. Aquaman's like, hey guys, I'm hanging out here in the bay. I don't know. But I like what they've done with this new Aquaman. The reimagining of Aquaman looks really cool. And they released a 5-minute trailer, which really gives you a snapshot of what the movie's going to be and the plot and the villains and the characters. And it actually shows this super cool chase scene. And it's definitely worth checking out, and it made me curious. Now, I have not really been into the DC world. I didn't watch a bunch of the DC movies. There's a whole bunch of them I haven't seen. But I did really like Wonder Woman. My wife especially wanted to see Wonder Woman. My wife kind of looks like Wonder Woman, actually. And she kind of acts like Wonder Woman. All right, anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a bonus point for that one. If you see my wife, tell her I said that. Tell her I think she's exactly like Wonder Woman, but better. So anyway, all right, I got to get off that. Now, speaking of superheroes, the big event of the summer was Avengers Infinity War. And of course, that movie had one of my favorite heroes, Thor, in it. And, Aquaman, going back to Aquaman just for a second, I really feel like they are trying to kind of take the feel of Thor and put it in the Aquaman movie. It seems like the Aquaman character has a real similar vibe as Thor, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's very likable. He's a very likable character. So anyway, Avengers Infinity War has Thor minus his hammer. And if you remember Thor's hammer, which has a name I don't remember how to pronounce, it's like Mjolnir. Anyway, some Scandinavian sounding name, but Thor's hammer, forged in the heart of a dying star. And that hammer, with its mythical material, actually is closer to reality than we thought. And I'm going to talk about that in today's science segment. All right, the physics at work inside a neutron star can be mind-bogglingly complex. The neutrons that are well understood in the rest of the universe do strange things when exposed to such incredible pressure. A new analysis of this so-called nuclear pasta suggests matter inside a neutron star is the strongest material in the universe. So, basically, here's what they have found. Neutron stars, if you don't know, which I didn't really know. Neutron stars are stars, like pretty big stars, that go, they exhaust their nuclear fuel, and then they go supernova because they collapse inward, and then they explode outward, and then what's left over is their core, and their cores are extremely, extremely dense. So here I'll read a little more from the story, which this story, by the way, comes from extremetech.com. The wild physics inside a neutron star are down to the incredible mass packed into such a small space. A neutron star might have twice the mass of our sun packed into an object just a few miles across. That is incredible. The crush of gravity contorts and squeezes neutrons into unusual configurations based on the models developed by scientists studying neutron stars. So they've created these computer models to study this theoretical substance inside the core of neutron stars. And the funny thing is, I don't know why they decided to do this, probably just based on what it looks like on their computer screen, because the page I'm reading off of now has pictures of these different materials. So basically what they theorize is that as you go deeper into the core of this neutron star, you get these different configurations of neutrons and material that's being crushed at these, extreme levels. And so they've named these different layers after pasta. There's the ganache. I don't know how to pronounce these properly. I don't eat at enough classy restaurants to be exposed to these words enough. Maybe I'll have to start taking my wife on some amazing dates. She is just like Wonder Woman after all. Anyway, ganache, spaghetti, waffles, lasagna, defects. I don't know what that is. Anti-spaghetti and anti-ganache. Now, usually these kind of science articles have some awesome science terminology, but I'm sorry. If I see Thor stand up and say, "My hammer was made in the heart of a neutron star. It's made of pure solar lasagna," I don't know. It just doesn't have the same ring. They should have come up with some cooler words. I don't know. Lasagna? Come on, man. According to the models, the density of the nuclear pasta makes it 10 billion times stronger than steel. That's far and away the most durable material in the known universe. Unfortunately, they believe that it can only exist inside the neutron star's core, because if it was to be taken out of the neutron star's core, it would be released from all that gravity and the particles would just come apart. So, it's cool, probably not very useful, but anyway, there you go. Now you know Thor's hammer, closer to reality than you thought. Well, this is the second of my two-part trilogy that has to do with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Now, I felt bad. I really wanted to do a little follow-up, but I just didn't have time last month. In my description, I said, Matt begins his two-part trilogy by discussing the philosophical implications of the Babelfish. Don't panic, this trilogy in two parts has a heart of gold, 2 heads, and 3 arms. So the reason I did that description is because it's a little insider joke with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, because the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a trilogy in 6 parts, actually. And one of the editions of the book has this little inscription. It says, "The first in the increasingly inaccurately named Hitchhiker's series," or Hitchhiker's trilogy. So anyway, yeah, trilogy in 2 parts, and so a little inside joke. Heart of Gold is the ship in Hitchhiker's Guide, and the reason I said it has 2 heads and 3 arms is because one of the main characters has 2 heads and 3 arms. So anyway, a little explanation that I'm not a ding-dong, at least not that much to forget that a trilogy actually has 3 parts. But today, I want to talk one more time about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And this will have lots of spoilers, but I want to encourage you to listen anyway. If you absolutely don't want spoilers, then stop listening. But the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy isn't so much about the plot as it is just the ridiculousness of the writing and the deep thinking that is paired with the ridiculousness. It's really a cool combination, and I really enjoy this guy's writing, Douglas Adams' writing. And so even if you know some of the plot details, you'll still probably get just as much enjoyment out of listening to it. But if you don't want any spoilers, pause the podcast, listen to the book or read the book, and then come back quickly. So I want to talk today about the ultimate answer. So the ultimate answer is something that comes up as the end of the book. And in the Hitchhiker's Guide universe, there is a race of aliens that builds a supercomputer named Deep Thought. And Deep Thought's purpose is to discover the ultimate answer to everything. And a little side note, there was an actual supercomputer named Deep Thought that was named after the computer in the Hitchhiker's Guide. And Deep Thought was a computer designed to play chess. And it was the first computer, I believe, to defeat Deep Thought became the first computer to beat a grandmaster in a regular tournament game when it beat Bent Larson in 1988. So Deep Thought, wow. Off the pages of Hitchhiker's Guide into the real world. So Deep Thought was this computer invented to crunch and analyze and come up with the ultimate answer. And so after millions of years of thinking, Deep Thought does indeed come up with the answer, and that answer is 43. And the people who hear that are extremely puzzled. And so then Deep Thought basically instructs them that, well, now you must seek the ultimate question. And so they don't know how to do this, and so Deep Thought says, I'll help you. I will design a supercomputer that is superior to me, and that supercomputer will help you come up with the answer, or excuse me, the question to the answer. And so the computer invented by Deep Thought is, drumroll please, Earth. That's right. So it comes out that the Earth is nothing more than a supercomputer that's running this program to discover the ultimate question that will fit the ultimate answer, which is 43. And, at the end, back to the beginning of the book, of course, the Earth is destroyed. And so when they learn all this backstory, where they discover themselves to be is, okay, we've been waiting for this answer to come from Earth, the supercomputer running this simulation to discover the ultimate question, which fits with the ultimate answer, which is 43. The Earth was destroyed to make room for an intergalactic bypass, and it was destroyed just before the answer was to be delivered. And so these aliens are distraught, but in the end, they admit that, frankly, they are sick of looking for the ultimate question to the ultimate answer, which is 43, and they just want to be done with the whole business. So they sit down and they have a little debate, and they decide that the ultimate question should be, how many roads must a man walk down? Which, if you know your American music, you know that comes from the famous Bob Dylan song, Blowing in the Wind, How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. So that's the song that they pull it from, and very appropriate. And so they just say, well, the answer is 43. And then they decide they're going to make a few bucks by going back to their dimension and going through the talk show circuit and discussing their discovery of the ultimate question. How many roads must a man walk down? And the ultimate answer, 43. Now, this is all seems just completely ridiculous, but there is a bit of seriousness to it, and I want to discuss that right now.
Bring forth the telescope!
Well, this is the show where we look at geek culture through the spyglass of faith. And so King Solomon wrote the book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible, and all throughout the book there's this refrain: all is vanity, all is meaninglessness. Now, in the previous segment talking about the Hitchhiker's Guide, I talked about how basically they are the the answer that Douglas Adams gives through this work is that, you know what? Forget the ultimate question. Just make up an answer, make up a question, and live your life, make a few bucks, have some fun, and that's pretty much it. Who cares? Forget this ultimate question business. And that's kind of the underlying theme of that work. And normally, when I come across that kind of thing, I want to get on my soapbox and say, life does have meaning because you're made in God's image. And I do believe that, but I'm going to take a little bit different approach this time, because in our Bible, there actually is an admission that when you look at the pure natural surroundings that we find ourselves in, and if you just focus exclusively on the material, eventually you come to a place where things do feel pretty empty. And that's where King Solomon was in the scripture. At this point in his life, he had it all. He had thousands of wives, thousands of women he had been with. He had done great public works projects, built these mighty buildings. He had been a statesman. He had interacted with all these other countries and seen all these things from foreign lands. He is rich beyond imagination. He built the temple for the Lord and was involved with religion and church, you could say. So he had literally been there and done that, and just at the end, he was let down by it. At the end, he found that he just felt like everything was just meaninglessness, vanity, chasing after the wind. And there is a truth there. Life in this universe will inevitably become dull for us, because we are semi-transcendent, and we are made to be connected to God. And so when you don't have that connection, there eventually you find yourself empty, right? Ravi Zacharias says it like this: in God there is perpetual novelty. In God there is perpetual novelty. And at the end of the book of Ecclesiastes, Solomon says this in verse 13, chapter 12, verse 13. Now, all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil. So eventually, Solomon comes back to the foundation that his father David laid, that without the connection to the Lord, the earth just, becomes meaningless. B.B. King sums it up. He sums up how so many of us feel as we get older. He says, "The thrill is gone." Remember that song? When you're young, you have so many things you're looking forward to. You're looking forward to driver's license, first kiss, falling in love, getting married, having children. You're looking forward to seeing things. You want to travel. You want to experience. And as you get older, you start to do all those things, and you realize, there's not a lasting fulfillment there. But in God, it's a perpetual novelty. So there you go. That's my conclusion for today. Stumbling over my words here. Fear God, seek God, because in Him is perpetual novelty. Thanks for listening. Matthew Seipel Anderson. I'm going to sign off. You can connect on Facebook, My Savior's Anthem, Music and Podcasting, or www.mysaviorsanthem.com. Love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.